Pokemon investing. This is probably not the most popular take, but I would say if you are new to Pokemon investing, really try to get products at MSRP. I know it sounds simple, but it really requires quite a bit of discipline and control, and even more important, patience. Why do I say that? Right now, as you have seen over the past couple of months, it seems like Pokemon products has just been rising and rising non-stop. But we have seen some corrections coming through, and it seems like the overall market is slowing down somewhat, although I'm not really expecting a slowdown or a crash at the moment. However you define crash, my definition of crash is probably different from yours, and the definition of crash could also change, so whatever. It's just that there's a drop in price, a severe a material drop in, a visible drop in price in Pokemon products. But do I think a crash has happened? No. So what would mean a crash would happen? I would think that's a crash would mean 50% drop in products, across products. That's talking about singles in general, slabs, sealed products, ETBs, booster boxes, and we're talking about not just the recent sets, but even older sets. Like we see a quite a visible 50% drop in price. That to me is more likely a drop, more likely called a crash, and then you just see products everywhere, literally on the shelves, and new sets at MSRP or lower. That's probably where I sense a crash would be defined, And is that what I'm seeing at the moment? No. Do I think a crash or that situation where products would return back to MSRP or lower again? Yes, I do think that's quite possible in the future. Probably not now, because there's still quite a lot of hype. Phantasmal Flames is about to come out in November 14th, and we already have some somewhat interesting sets being released until next year, and then we have 30th anniversary next year. So because of all the hype, I don't think a crash, which I just described, would happen now or even next year. Where I think the crash might happen is after the 30th anniversary, and say we just get a couple of these really weak sets, then yeah, that's probably where it's likely to happen. So it's probably going to happen around 2028, maybe mid 2028 or later 2028. There's obviously other external factors, because Pokemon is really it really depends, right? It really depends on you see it. It's not really a traditional asset, although it is becoming like that. It's also not a speculative asset, but it's kind of like a product where if the economy is not doing well, then people wouldn't really go for Pokemon, if that makes sense. They would probably go for necessities such as food and shelter, etc. Okay, so my other external factor would be the economy. So if there's a downturn in the economy, say lots of inflation, rising unemployment, people would not be able to afford to spend on Pokemon products, then yeah, that's also likely to cause a crash. So in all those instances, I just want to say, if you are starting off investing in Pokemon, I would say the rule is always try to pick up products MSRP. Don't FOMO. That is fear of missing out, and then trying to get in products at a very high price. So let's start with a few examples. Surgeon's Box. Probably one of the more popular sets of the Scarlet and Violet era. What has happened? It was about to break 300, and then now it's back to 239. Even some been sold at 223. Distant Rivals, very hyped set, although arguably the best set of Scarlet and Violet's era. Shot all the way up to was 500, now back at 382. Now imagine you bought all the way at 420, 490. Now it's dropped at 382. What would happen? Extreme case, say you bought on debt, okay, and you have an interest rate of over 20%. You would probably panic right now, and you want to pay back the debt, and you can't afford rent and food, so you would panic sell. You'll probably, lose a huge percentage. And that's the thing with Pokemon investing. You really should maintain a budget. Don't spend money that's dedicated for important expenses such as rent and food. And really try to pick things out at MSRP. So the MSRP for booster boxes is $160. So whenever a new set comes up, there's pre-orders. And you really should go for those pre-orders. If you determine to go into a set, that's where you should really pick up products at. After the pre-orders are done, the market, especially during this hype cycle, they move above MSRP. You can see it already started off at 321 and it never went back to MSRP, 260, 244. But when the reprint comes in, that's your opportunity to enter in again at MSRP. Well, you may come and say, oh, okay, no, it's too difficult. There's so many bots and many people waiting at stores. Then I suppose it's okay. You should be okay with missing out. Rather miss out than spend $500 for a booster box and now sitting with the booster box, which is worth 382. Right? So you've lost so much percentage, you've locked up your funds, and it's still within the reprint cycle for years to come, for at least another 2 years. Now you're stuck, and if you sell, you have a loss. But if you waited for the reprint and you picked it up at MSRP, you're still up. And if you picked up MSRP even when the crash comes through, your level of loss would be lower than if you FOMO'd in at 400, 500. So if you miss out and you still want to allocate a percentage to Pokemon, what should you do? Wait for the next set. So after Distant Rivals was what? Black Bolt and White Flame. Get in those. That's really the way, that's how I plan to invest going forward. I felt patience really pays off. There's definitely times where allocations are really poor. So you could order 2 booster boxes and you only get 1, or you get 0. But that's just life, and sometimes you're just gonna be okay with missing out. Have that cash set aside and then wait for the next opportunity. There's tons of opportunity in Pokemon, Just wait for the next opportunity. Black Bolt and White Flare, I initially thought it was a crap set. Turns out it was decent. Even the set value is still relatively good at the moment. I mean, it's even higher than Distant Rivals. And then what's next? Mega Evolution. I also thought Mega Evolution was gonna be a flop set. Check it out. What's this? The Mega Hyper Rare. Yeah, Mega Hyper Rare MHR new rarity, the gold cards. Completely crazy, right? Now Mega Evolutions is also like over 3,000 set value. There you go. So there's plenty of opportunities. Phantasmal Flames, another set that's coming out. Try and get in. If you can't, wait for the next set. And that's really my take. Okay, catch you next one.